My very first sales job over 25 years ago was selling cars. I got the job there before I knew anything about NLP, anything about hypnosis, anything about psychology, anything about sales. And I think they specifically hired people that didn't know how to sell things to people so they could train them on their own method of how to sell things to people. And it was a 10-step sales process. Step 1 is you greet the customer out on the lot. Step 2 is you find out what kind of car they're driving. Step 3 is you connect them to a car that's on the lot, a new car. Step 4 is when you butterfly the car. When you pull the car out, you open all the doors, you walk around the car, and you give this features and benefits sales pitch. It's kind of fun, kind of exciting. It's like doing a 15-minute kind of comedy show because you try to make it as interesting and exciting as possible. Then you get them inside, then you go through the negotiations, then the objections, and then hopefully everybody leaves happily ever after. And this sales training class was a 1-week class, and it was taught by this really kind of strict, conservative, by-the-book sales manager. He always wore this white shirt, always had a dark tie on. And while we were in the class learning, periodically another sales manager, this really goofy-looking sales manager, would walk into the training class. And the goofy-looking sales manager always had this kind of weird smile on his face, like he was always high or something. And he didn't seem to care what was going on around him. He just liked being in his own skin. He just liked being himself. And I could tell, or I could suspect, or maybe I was hallucinating, that the super strict sales manager had some kind of animosity toward this goofy salesperson, because he would always be polite, but they never really talked a lot. And so we went through the course, we learned how to sell cars. After the first couple of weeks and months, I got better and better at selling cars. And one day, when the strict sales manager had the day off and the goofy sales manager was in charge, he said, hey, check this out. Let me show you how to sell a car. And I followed him out onto the lot. And there was a couple out there looking at cars, and they're trying to like hide in between the cars so they wouldn't be attacked by a salesperson. And he walked up to him, the goofy guy, and he was like, "Hey, how's it going?" Just super loud, super obnoxious, super like let's get high together kind of attitude. And he just started talking to them like they were at some party or something. And I was trying to figure out what step he was on, what was his technique, what was his method, and I couldn't figure out what he was doing. He was just talking to the customers like they were old friends. And at first I thought they were old friends, but they didn't really seem to know each other, other than he was super friendly and he made everybody feel comfortable whenever they were around this guy. And he started asking all these weird questions like, "You sure this is the car you want? There's a lot of other cars on the lot. Why don't you look around some more?" The opposite of what you're supposed to say. And the more he asked these kind of counterintuitive questions, the more they got interested in the particular car they were looking at. So we went inside and he was sitting down negotiating price, and most of the time when a customer looks at a car, they look around the car, they look inside, then they see the sticker and they're like, "Oh my God, look how expensive it is." That's why it's called sticker shock. But the goofy sales guy did that before they did. When he saw the car they wanted, when he saw the car they were looking at, he said, "This is a nice car." And then he said, "Holy crap, look how expensive it is. Man, this is the most expensive car we have. You sure you want this one?" And they're like, yeah. So they went inside and he kept asking all these really strange questions, all these really counterintuitive questions, and they ended up loving the car. They bought the car without any hesitation on the price. And he even said, "Are you sure you want to buy this car? I mean, your car you have now still runs good. You can still get a couple, 3 years out of it. This car is really expensive. Look how much this is. This is a $50,000 car. Think of all the things you could buy with a $50,000 car. Think of all the things you could buy with $50,000. Are you sure you want to buy a car for 50 grand today?" And they're like, yeah. And he would kind of get the customer to qualify themselves to him. And I saw him do this 3 or 4 times over the next couple of months, always when the strict manager was gone. He just had this crazy, "I'm always high, let's get high together" attitude, this very infectious charisma. He would just ask all these crazy questions to the customers, and he would always get the customers near the end of the sales conversation to qualify themselves to him, to try to convince him why they should buy this car. And he just had a lot of fun doing it, and he never needed to negotiate on price. And this guy was always in the best mood. The only time I saw him angry was when there's another sales guy talking to a customer, and this other sales guy came into the place the same time I did, so he was in my training class, and he was talking to a customer, and the customers got up and left in the middle of the conversation, and the goofy sales guy kind of got angry and said, "You know what your problem is? You talk too much. When the customer comes on a car lot, they don't care about your opinion. They don't want to hear why you think they should buy the car. They have their own desires. You need to ignore your own opinions and focus on their desires. You keep talking yourself out of a sale. They don't care about your opinion. I know you love your opinion. I know you love to hear yourself talk, but keep that self inside when you're talking to the customers. Look for their desires. And then he kind of walked off. And when he said that, it kind of made sense what he was doing, because a couple of times I would ask him how specifically what his process was, because it was clearly different than the 10-step process that we had learned. And he never could really give me a coherent answer, but he would always say these almost non-secular things like, just follow the vibe or follow their desires. And it kind of made sense when I saw him yell at him, particularly in retrospect when I know about what I've learned and I look back on that in retrospect. But it seems that he just had this natural sales ability, a natural charismatic sales ability, a natural way to make people feel comfortable, a natural way to expand the desire inside somebody else. Because he told me once that people love buying things. We all love to buy things. We all love to give somebody money and get something in return. And when we get something in return, this feels fantastic. It doesn't matter if it's a $3 cup of coffee or if it's a $50,000 car. We love to buy things. And so his angle was to find that desire inside people and bring this out with the goofy questions he asked and create that fantastic feeling that I'm about to get something fantastic. I'm about to get something good. The strict sales manager ended up getting let go a couple of months later because he was in charge of our used car inventory, and he was supposed to buy used cars and we were supposed to sell the cars. But one summer he spent way too much of the boss's money buying all these used cars that we just couldn't sell, and so he was let go. But the goofy sales manager was there the whole time I was there, and I loved selling cars. I had no idea I would enjoy it so much. My favorite part was when you get inside and you know the customer likes a car, and you have the high price for the sales dealership, they have a low price for their ideal, and you negotiate. And when you get to the agreement point, that's the fantastic part, because this is what surprised me the most when I was selling cars to people, is when you're having these sales conversations with customers, it's almost kind of confrontational, particularly when you're negotiating. And it seems like they're almost angry at you because you're fighting each other. But once you get to an agreement, once the customer and the salesperson agree on the price and you make the exchange, they suddenly morph. Their personality suddenly changes and you become their best friend, because they have that fantastic experience of buying something, because we all love to buy things, and selling things is just the other side of buying things. It's a fantastic internal feeling, and it's what has driven human civilization since the dawn of time, buying and selling stuff to each other. This is why we invent stuff, so we can buy and sell stuff to each other. And I think this is what this guy's angle was, this goofy salesperson. He just wanted to find that desire inside and forget about the ideas in his head and just build out the desires in their head to get to the point where they wanted to buy something, and it felt fantastic, and everybody lived happily ever after. If you'd like to learn more about how to do this, check out the links below. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you next time.